Hello, this is another tough video, tell a friend video. It is, for me, maybe the most freeing video in a long time, maybe in 3 months or so. It's about the Corona sidetrack, but this channel is actually on Happy, Active, Healthy 100 Plus, and that is then you have to work on your body, on your mind, on the food you eat, and then obviously also on the meaning of your life and how that all relates also to you being a social being in the world and so on. Now, there was this Corona sidetrack, which actually like 10 weeks ago made me develop a whole series of, it's now 31 videos. The last two I'll do today. It's a liberating video because with these 30 videos, I actually was able to kind of understand, to kind of clarify for me, and I hope I also helped some of you to clarify better for you the situation of Corona, because the biggest problem is if it's unknown territory. You know, if Corona is something you receive as or perceive as dangerous, then your brain will work in a specific way. Or if you see Corona as something maybe, oh, sorry, that should have been a heart. If you see that as a heart, you know, and it is known territory, then it is, you know, so easy. Sorry, there was a little, there was a thinking error in here. So the thing is, if you perceive Corona as something dangerous, then what happens is that your brain switches off thinking about it, and you look for the leader, a strong leader. You know, that is what your brain will do. It doesn't want to go into the area Corona, an area in your brain that is unknown. So unknown, because unknown hurts, you know, that aches you, so you don't go into that. While if you do like it, if you say, well, it's not dangerous, you know, this area. So if you see your Corona area as a rather, let's draw it here. This is usually I'm more a person that likes to go into any type of brain I have, you know, area of brain. So if you like to go into there and you kind of, when you think about it, you're kind of happy and you like it, you want to find the truth, then this is initially maybe not that much known, but it develops into known territory. And so you like to spend time here. So after the 30 videos I've done, Corona is actually a very known territory. And so I actually like to discuss it, and my brain actually likes to be in here. If you have this fear, then usually the reaction is, don't think about it, so no thoughts. So the thoughts that you had will be fixed, because thoughts will only change if you think about it. And then you usually call for a strong leader that helps you, that you don't have to think about this, you know, because it hurts thinking about this. So you ask for the strong leader that helps you not to attack, not to actually think through this area in your brain. I have a lot of other videos regarding how the brain works. Now, I started with the landscape of the Corona game, because I said this is kind of a chess play for some big people. And who are the players? And we obviously make part of 8 billion people, but then there are some players that like to play this Corona game like we would do when we play chess with friends. Now, why does the population actually love Corona? And it's a little bit this area here with a strong leader and so on. And then the complexity meets a brain in fear. That is, if the Corona thing is very, very complex. It took me 30 videos to actually 10 minutes each. So it's like 5 hours discussion in my own brain about corona. So this is terribly complex, this subject of corona. And now if your brain is in fear, the usual thing is you don't want to think into this brain. So whenever you think into this brain, it hurts, and so you go out. And that means if you now have a complexity of the corona game, then the whole corona picture, then obviously you always try to get into here, but it hurts, and then you say, no, leader, you do it for me. And this is also kind of the same why people do blindly accept orders. They don't want to go here, so they look for the orders from somebody that knows. And that the video 6 is the same. Why do people discard the obvious truth? Because the obvious truth is not visible to them, so their eye is completely closed, they can't see. And now, is the corona topic complex? And yes, it is very, very complex, because there's medical things, there is like exponential functions, how it controls theory, and so it's really complex. Now, is corona dangerous? Well, yes, I would say it's about like a normal flu with some little quirky, the two main differences to a flu, in terms of that if you have kind of a pre-condition, then it's more dangerous than a flu, a little bit more, maybe 3 times as dangerous if you have lung things and so on. And the other thing is that you don't discover it immediately. So the flu, you have gotten corona, and then you walk around for 4, 5, 6 days or even longer, and you have corona. You can actually give corona to others, and so it's very contagious. So usually after you have the flu, you stay at home, you stay in bed, and you can only pass your flu to some family members. Now, why the currently applied measures will kill more people, and that is the thing is, if you lock down the world, I would say lock down the world of 1 billion people, because kind of in Africa and so on, I don't know how kind of severe things actually in the rural areas have been, but maybe it's 1 to 2 billion people that actually were very kind of affected by the measures. And now the thing is, the economy will go down, and I'll have some videos on this later on. And so the impact of kind of changing the behavior of 2 billion people will actually kill more people than corona would have killed. Now, what should we do now? This is kind of what are our options, and so I discussed like the measures and so on. Now, why are there only a few going against mainstream? Well, this is a very psychological thing. So usually people do not go against mainstream. There is this thought, this thing, an idea, once it comes up, it's ridiculed. So people say that's ridiculous. Then it's severely fought. So you kill people that say this idea. And then the third step is, it's obvious. People accept it. But usually, but it has to be mainstream, and then people accept it. The economic earthquake, this is kind of what I talk about, these 2 billion people that now change their behavior. And now where can we play in the corona game? What can we do? So do we have to put a lot of pasta in our basement so that we don't starve to death in the next years? Or what do we have to do with our money and so on? This is kind of this thing. Now, is corona a flu? That is kind of here, how dangerous it is. And then the question is, that was kind of a thought, why don't we just randomly take 10 people, randomly with a perfect distribution, testing female, male, age group and social behavior and so on, and 1,000 people that are representative for this in the population. For example, in Germany, we do that every day, and then after 2-3 weeks, we would have seen how many people have corona, have had it, and so on. But they did not do it, and who did not do it, and that is kind of the vaccine lobby. And I actually think the vaccine lobby is right, that for people that have no immune system, now it depends, do you have an immune system? For myself, because I'm doing this Happy Active Healthy 100 Plus channel, I do have a very, very strong immune immune system. And I've met several people, especially the ones that do jogging and so on. They say, well, if a flu hits me, well, maybe I have to stay at home for a week or so, but I doubt it, because my immune system is so high. I haven't had a flu for 10 years. I can't think about a flu I ever had. So, but the vaccine lobby is actually right. If you have a population where 50 or more % of the population has an immune system that is kind of dead, then obviously you have to give them medicine, give them drugs. You know, if they can't do it with their nature, okay, fine. Now, what I did is I actually, while doing jogging in the morning for, I think, 10 days or so, I asked people, and in the end, I asked 40 people, and I have a video on here, private poll, 40 random people about Corona. So I actually wanted to see, what do these people say, and what is their mindset, and so on. Then I actually played through what is the forced vaccination scenario, and that was really, really hard for me, because it's like this thing with the Jews in 1933 starting, and then getting worse over the next years, maybe getting worse over the next 12 years, to like until the war was, the Second World War was over. Because what usually will happen, you will initially, the guys that get the vaccine, they will get a good mark, so they are the good ones. And then if more and more people actually are the good ones, so they have in their passport they have something, or they have a little badge on their shoulder or something like that, and you see these ones have been vaccinated, and then after some time you might have 80-90% being having received a vaccine, and then you would actually want to show these guys haven't had a vaccine. And so you actually mark them with red, and marking them with red means if they, for example, are self-employed, a hairdresser or so, nobody would go to their shop, and maybe their kids wouldn't be allowed to go to school, you won't be allowed to go on a train, and you won't be allowed to travel to board a plane, and so on. So there will be kind of the same as here, and I described this scenario, because if you really say forced vaccination, then that is what will happen. So forced vaccination, you know, to most people that I talk to here, I actually talk to lots of people, they say, oh, no, it's not difficult, it's no problem. Yes, but forced vaccination, yes, forced vaccination. I said, yeah, could you think that through? And then, so I do this in this video 18. And then, you know, I was always accused about this conspiracy theory, you know, oh, you're an idiot, and so on. You kind of made jokes about me. And I thought about, yeah, there is actually no conspiracy, because the Little Prince if you want to teach if you want to kind of build a great ship with people, and then don't, and so on. A lot of people know the Little Prince. So that is about the video 19. So you don't need a conspiracy theory. Now, who can stop the Corona disaster? And I think here there was, I actually went to the different players of the game who can stop it. And I think my conclusion was the old people, you know, the old people that cannot be kind of taken by their balls by influential people, because they already said, oh, okay, I have enough money, I have lived my life, and so even if somebody would kill me, I would do the good. And so they could actually stop it. So it's the elderly people, so the people 60 plus, the people 70 plus, they could actually stop the Corona disaster, but they don't. They sit in front of the couch and say, ooh, but I don't have to do anything, because they usually are the ones that ask for big leaders. Because especially today where the elderly population, like the 80 years old, the 70-year-old, they actually want to travel, they want to see the world, they want to enjoy their lives, and so on. And so they actually hold on very, very severely to their life. And whereas, like my grandmother or so, they would have said, go out and travel, and go and work and do something. Don't care about me. So that has changed. And so that means who can stop is the elderly people, but they will not do it, because in our generation, they want to enjoy themselves. So here in video 21, I actually showed in 28 minutes, I showed the answers of 40 random people why they argued in a specific way towards corona. And then here I showed how a corona discussion goes, and this is like with the conspiracy theory and so on. This is kind of a corona discussion is a power game. It's incredible, and that actually so it's very, very hard to win a corona discussion because you are immediately accused. So I show in this video 22 how you can actually say wait, you pose a question and sorry, this question is wrong. Please, let's start with the definition you're using in this question. You are accusing me already with this question that I'm an idiot. And now I show you, look, I will not answer the question how you pose it. Please, let's define how we pose the question, and then is this thing. So this is this power game in a corona discussion. The perfect plot is kind of that this game, the corona game, has been set up in a way that is perfect. So the guys that set it up, they cannot lose. Now, then obviously I had some fear for myself. So in the video 24, what happens for somebody that critiques this this perfect plot, this mainstream, and so what could happen? And it plays a little bit into this forced vaccination scenario. So it's not very nice if somebody's a critic of this incumbent system. And then I thought, well, in the end, kind of the people will do a revolution, and I then discovered when comparing the corona situation with the French Revolution, no, not at all. The French Revolution, you had the population, like 90% of the population being poor, starving, and they had a shitty life. So, and that is a perfect plot, a perfect starting condition for revolution, because you have a shitty life, you are hungry, or well, you go and kill. Now, we have Netflix and junk food and drugs as much as we want to. So there is no French Revolution, never, ever. And then that actually caused a kind of, for me, like a study of Machiavelli, which I knew, but never actually, his book, The Prince, Il Principe, in German, I think it's the first. And that is a fantastic book, which you can apply 100% to corona. It's 100%. It's fantastic. So what I did is in video 27, I actually took the corona game, which I introduced in the beginning, and then applied the Machiavellian principles to that. Are fantastic. It was so. This was eye-opening. It's incredible. And then I looked at my friendship, because friendships, because what I did is I actually informed about 61 people in my address book about kind of these videos and what I saw and other videos and so on. And what I discovered is that a kind of I would say 10%, so 6, actually hated me. So hate. There was a kind of hate or disgust against me. So 10% hated me, and about 10% loved me. They said, so 10% hate, 10% hate and 10% love. So this was, and 80%, 80%, didn't care, which is a perfect, thing that here why the population loves corona and why people discard the obvious true, blindly accept orders. And so it's kind of this, I saw that with my friends, so that means people I knew, so people I knew for a long time, that they started to hate me, or they said, well, this kind of this love me is kind of the continuation of our friendship, kind of, or deepening the friendship. And then 80% didn't care, so I wasn't kind of interesting to them, and the topic wasn't interesting to them. So if I would send them a cat video, they would reply within 5 minutes with another cat video, but if I send them a corona video, they will not even reply. Now, then what I did is, with the Machiavellian score, I actually looked at kind of, is there the perfect plot? Is there the possibility, like French Revolution and so on, that we actually can do something? And so I actually tried to define how well people, the different players in the Corona game, actually score according to Machiavelli. And there are 6 influences from Machiavelli, and I give them 10 points each, and then I put a score. I scored 20 out of 60. The normal people in the demo kind of demonstrating against this Corona thingy, I rated them, I think, as a 7 out of 60, and the main players in the Corona game, I draw them in red because it was so astonishing. They had 54 out of 60. Fantastic. That was, to me, eye-opening, and that was kind of also for me the plot where I said summary and outlook, which is this video. And then I was thinking a little bit about how the world will look after the economic earthquake, because the Corona game actually opened, as far as I see it, opened kind of a new world, and there will be a new normality. But the normality, the new normal, will not be wearing masks. This is maybe something that will go alongside, and being receiving a vaccine. But there will be an economic earthquake, and this is a video that I'm looking really forward to doing. This is fantastic. This is science fiction, incredible, and well, it's science fiction, but very realistic. And so I'm looking forward to doing this video in just a few minutes. Thank you very much. It's 20 minutes, but well, it was for me kind of, now in order, here the thing is, 10 weeks ago, the Corona thingy hits me. So I then started to research, and I would say I researched about 100 hours in total in these 10 weeks. So that means 10 hours a week. Yeah, maybe it's 100 to 200, because the brain works all the time and so on. So this is kind of what I did. And then out of that, I did 30 videos, and that is about 5 hours. So it's a 5-hour tough tell a friend video section out of that. And so this actually for me, opened up so much. So in 10 weeks, I was able to work on a topic for, let's say, 100 to 200 hours, and I made a summary of 5 hours out of it, and which I share. And I really love that. My personal knowledge grew by so much that it's, for a 10-week period, I think it is unmatched. I don't know. At university, when I finished my degrees, I did in 8 months. I did all tests for the master, and so in 8 months I did a lot, and that was a lot as well. I studied every day. But here in these 10 weeks, maybe the growth, the personal growth I took out of that is, I think, more than these 8 months. So that is why I'm very grateful for this whole Corona plot, and I really love it. And I'm now looking forward to do the video 31, the world after the economic earthquake. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.